Hey, sorry we're late. Martino was giving directions to somebody who
20 times
didn't understand English or something. I don't have a clue. But anyway, we're finally here. All of us. Yes. And we have a guest with us today.
You sure do.
We do.
Yes.
Angelina Moore-Johnson, overcoming addiction. And we were talking about catching up for lunch, which we've been trying to do for the last year. You, Angie, and me.
That's disgraceful,
sure
really.
wanted to come, but she's not going to be able to today. But whatever the case, and we said, well, why don't we have you as our guest?
Yes.
Hijack Life Live. So that's why you're our guest.
Thank
we
you.
usually chat a little bit about the week.
Yeah.
So, Gianna, how was your week? Hey, how about Israel sleeping right now?
Oh, he's getting his second little bottom tooth is halfway through, so he had mommy up all night.
Yeah, so listen to this. Last week, right? She tried to put him to bed to nap. Well, his clock said, no, I'm supposed to be on Facebook Live.
So there he
He woke up and he wanted to be with us. It's just internal.
He's a sweetie. But I think he's so tired and the tooth is finally breaking through, so he's napping right next door in the living room.
Praise God for that.
How about you?
Yeah.
Your salon's looking awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I'd like to go last.
Oh, okay. How was your week?
My week was actually pretty incredible. Last night, I oversee Chainbreakers Recovery. That's Gloucester's addiction recovery program. And one of the guys there, Pastor John, actually is discipling him, shared his testimony for 33 years sober. He was 33 years sober.
Wow.
And when I tell you, go and watch it. Go to the Chainbreakers Recovery Facebook page. There wasn't a dry eye in the room.
Now, when you say 33 years sober, is that no setbacks?
No, none.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Was in prison.
I wish I could say that about my sins, that I had no setbacks.
So we had that, and then we had one other guy celebrating 1 year sober, and he's like, can I get up and say a few things, because he can't be on camera because of his work. So he said afterwards, and he's like one of our core members. He does all the recording and everything for us, Jay. So
he can't be on camera, but we just gave him his name. But that's all right. Go ahead.
He's not that. Yeah, we didn't give the last name. So anyway,
there's only one Jay in the group, everybody.
There you go. So he said, "Can I just have the floor for a minute after the camera gets turned off?" And then we normally do a worship song. And so when he got up there to share for a few minutes, it takes a lot to make me cry. And he said, I've been trying to get this forever. And without Angelina and Chambers, I would have never gotten to this moment.
Wow.
So I made a video to give her thanks. You guys don't understand the hours she puts in, and it's a thankless job. And so I just want to honor her.
That's nice.
So
they
put on the song Love of God. It was a whole video of our ministry and pictures of me, like, I was bawling my eyes out.
There you go.
And then they come with flowers, and I'm like, I don't like being the center of attention like that. I'll talk about Jesus. You know what I mean? But so it was really probably one of the nicest things.
It means a lot, because no matter what you do, whether you're a youth pastor, whether you're running, Wigs and Wishes or the salon, or you're in Chain Breakers, or me, a pastor for years, there's not a whole lot of those moments.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was interesting. Cheryl and I were talking about this the other day. Whenever anybody says to you, I really need to meet with you. You know it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
That's so
And
true.
I remember, we had this family. It was Glenn and Barbara Hager. And they said, we just really need to meet. And I'm thinking, oh, now what? They're going to leave the church and they have a million reasons why or something. and you always think the worst. And they took us out and said, no, all we wanted to do was tell you how much Gloucester County has meant. And if it wasn't for you and Cheryl, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Wow.
And we've been coming for 20-some years or 30-some years, and we've never done it. And God said, you need to take them out and say that to them.
Wow.
And I'll remember that forever. When
Yeah.
somebody said, let's go out.
Yeah.
For me, what was yours, Semaj? I'll tell you mine. Martin, let's go last.
Well, by the way, Christina said, tell PB I love his shirt.
Oh, it is.
Thanks. Hey.
He is looking all spiffy today.
Yeah,
What's
what
he
can I
rock?
tell you? Thank you. I'm glad you like my shirt. Don't forget, we got to square up on the pencil drawing you want. Remember? All right.
So you're asking how my week has been, right?
Yeah.
So we started youth group back up full time for the year, and I'm just really, really excited. And it's just, I've just had like a large feeling of just happiness because the youth are just taking ownership of their church. It's just like how you used to always say to me when I was younger. You take so much ownership of this place. You love this place. This is your church. The same thing you said to me when I was a teenager is the same thing I'm saying to them now, and it's such a beautiful thing.
They don't have ownership. They don't stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we started worship again. Gianna's leading worship. We have a youth group worship band. Gianna's going to be leading everything, so it's great.
She's amazing.
So with me, there's this person that we go way back. I remember her as a teenager. And she lives out in the Berlin area, and she'll come to church when we had a Saturday night service and go to her own church on Sunday. She would come every once in a while. So we had a pretty good relationship. I mean, she comments on my Facebook stuff and my posts and vice versa. And she, there was a homosexual couple in the church that got married. And she wrote on there how thrilled she was, just so happy you finally found the love of your life. And it just tore me to shreds. And I thought, you really didn't write that. You know what I mean? And it bothered me, and it kept bothering me. And I kept telling the Lord, really, it's none of my business. She wrote what she wrote. And the Lord said, no, I think you need to say something to her. So she commented on a post that I had written. And I didn't put it publicly, but I privately said, I just felt that you applauded and you approved sin. That's what you did in your post. And then she went into the history. She'd known this guy since he was a child, and he had actually, interesting to us, we didn't know the issue, but she knew the issue when he was a child. She said, we go back to when we were a child, and I knew that he had no interest in the opposite sex. And she said, so I was just kind of happy that he was happy, And I said, yeah, but you approved his sin. You can love him. God loves us unconditionally. And we should love people unconditionally, but not their sin. And she wrote me back and she said, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you're remorseful, but you're not repentant. You would be repentant if you took it down. And she wrote me back 2 minutes later, it's down. And I just felt, you got to listen to your spiritual gut.
Yeah.
And there are instances like that all the time I never respond to. Because I just say, that's not my business.
Right.
But in this case, I guess I knew the person enough to say, I just need to approach this. And wow, and that was my divine appointment. All right.
Are we frozen? Because it was free.
It'll come
Check
back.
mine.
You
It
gotta
comes
wait.
back.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
So let's see. Well, this week, Israel started his first day of school, and he had a great day.
Yeah.
Gabe turned 25.
My goodness.
I needed some chemical for the floor, and you couldn't order on Amazon. They won't ship in New Jersey, so I went to Sherman-Williams. It was like $250, and I got to the counter, and she goes, I know who you are. Aren't you the guy that does the exhibition? I said, yeah. She goes, this order's on us. So that was like,
wow.
I know.
So nice.
It helps with all the negativity.
Yeah.
But I think the highlight of my week is that I learned that Pookie Bear is Semaj's pet name from Jada. We were at Topgolf,
Get out.
and she slipped and called him Pookie Bear. And I said, Pookie Bear? What the heck is Pookie Bear? And she looked at him, or he looked at her, and she looked at him and went, I'm so sorry. I went, oh, is that your pet name? And she laughed, and he was upset. But from now on, he's no longer Semaj.
No longer.
He's Pookie Bear.
That's right.
To you, I wasn't in that moment, so
Yeah.
without Pookie Bear,
I'm telling the rest of the staff.
PB, she did that one time. We were at a big family gathering, and she called me Pooh. Well, she called me Pooh for short. And she called me Pooh, and everybody was like, who's Pooh? And she was like, oh, that's Semaj's name. And everybody was like, Pooh, Pookie. And I was like,
That was good, Mark.
Anyway, welcome to Hijack Life Live, where we believe that God rescues the dreams that have been shattered by the cruelties and injustices of life, a.k.a. we are the other people.
Yeah.
What's our subject today?
overcoming addiction.
Yeah.
That's our subject. And so tell our viewers, hey, right, to like, share, invite somebody to tune in.
I was trying to do it too, but
yeah.
it's on your regular Facebook page. Yeah, I was on yours. But
I was on
no, you have to go to Martin's.
Oh.
I share it afterwards.
Gotcha.
I'm on Instagram. So go to Martino's page and then share it.
Okay.
So once you do that, Angelina, we're going to ask you a little question. You got to keep this short because we only have 30 minutes. And we want to talk.
That's it. They were just saying that to me at the staff meeting yesterday. We only got 2 minutes for this worship service coming up. Angelina can't be up there. You got to get one of your other breakers.
So this is
Are you on now?
Oh, I'm on. All right, here we go.
So this is a really good topic, everybody. So
You
just
come back in.
make sure you share, tell someone to tune in, tag them right now.
Come on.
This is a really, really good topic.
Struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So where did you grow up? A few quick questions.
I grew up here in Washington Township, actually, like 2 lights down.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's your present occupation or profession?
I oversee at the Boston County Community Church our recovery program, Chain Breakers Recovery.
Okay. And how did you get addicted?
That's a good question. I don't think anyone ever really knows, like, when did the line cross where it went from, I was always a party animal. Always.
Okay.
I was one of those where you tell your mom you're sleeping out, but really, like, you're dying in the field somewhere. Alcohol poisoning. The golf course right here, actually, was right behind my house, and that's where we used to go. So, like, from the get-go, I always partied a lot.
All right. So do you have an addictive personality?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like you're always like you're type A.
Beyond.
And you always
A+.
do things to the extreme.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know when you got involved in addiction? Were you a teenager? How, did you start by drinking? Was it marijuana? What was it?
I did it all. Literally.
When you were a kid?
I started around 13 years old. But when it became addictively, my parents were going through a divorce, and it was not pretty. And there was just a lot of strife in the home. Like, that's the best. When I look, someone had showed me the definition of strife, and I was like, it like hit me because it's like it's an angry undercurrent, and like that's what was in my home at all times. It was like that undercurrent of anger, not knowing the stuff about to pop off. So it was like you're walking on eggshells all the time.
Okay.
So the first time I drank, I was like, ooh, it felt like I could breathe for the first time. Like, I don't care what's going to go on. So I think that became, in the beginning, the drugs and alcohol. I always thought when I was trying to get sober, if I could just stop drinking and stop doing drugs, then I'll be okay. What I didn't understand was the drinking and the drugs wasn't my problem. It had become my solution to fix the way
I felt.
When I was,
stressed.
In my own
Overdone.
skin, sober, myself sober. Right? So, getting informed about this disease and like how it works and operates. Like I said, I always thought if I could just stop doing that, right? So, what happened is, I tried to get clean, but then I'm still left with
So
me.
here's what I'm going to say. I don't like the word disease. You know that.
Well, medically it is.
I know, but here's what happens. If it's a disease, all I have to do is treat it. If it's sin, I got to put it away.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I don't like the word disease.
Yeah, you do.
I got all kinds of diseases I treat and manage, but there's some I can't treat and manage. I need to just get rid of it.
Yes.
So anyway.
And that is because there's actually a medical component in the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, Joel, I remember when I found all these bottles of alcohol, when Joel got his first DUI, and I said, so why do you drink? And he brings all these bottles up and he sets them on the table and he says to me, I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I said, when did this start? And some guy gave him a beer when he was 13 years old at a pool party. And you know what he said to me? I liked the way it made me feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Joel, is analytical. He's introspective. He's really bright. And I think it slowed his mind down and let him feel good.
Yeah.
So how did you get victory over your addiction?
Yeah. So how I got victory. So again, it was like, and that solution in drugs and alcohol, that worked a really long time for me. Like you'll hear people say like, my worst day sober is, better than my best day drinking. And I'm like, I like to be honest with people, because when people come in, like, they don't feel that. And I think sometimes people will say that. So we really try to meet people where they're at, because that wasn't my experience, because it was fun for me in the beginning, right? I had a lot of fun. But then it became fun with problems. And then all of a sudden, all I got is problems.
So in the beginning, you mastered it in a
Correct.
sense, managed it,
Yeah.
but then it began to manage you, and
Correct.
that's when it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah. It's controlling me. And that is sin, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Those who practice sin become a slave to sin. And that's what I had become enslaved to drugs and alcohol.
Okay. Well, let's go to our text.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to have Martino read our text. It's Romans 7. You had picked this.
Yep.
14 through 24. And then we'll make some comments on it, and we'll ask you some questions. How about
Awesome.
we do that? And
Okay.
I don't know what our time frame is, but we probably have another 10 minutes, and we got to be off.
All right.
Go ahead.
So the trouble is not with the law, for it is spiritual and good. The trouble is with me, for I am too human, a slave to sin. I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. But if I know that what I am doing is wrong, this shows that I agree that the law is good. So I am not the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it.
That's right.
And I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature. I want to do what is right, but I can't. I want to do what is good, but I don't. I don't want to do what is wrong, but I do it anyway. But if I do what I don't want to do, I am not really the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it.
Now, listen.
That's why.
This is the Apostle
Right?
Paul who wrote this,
Yeah.
so it makes me feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
You don't got to have an addiction to identify with that.
Right.
That's the truth.
Because everybody has something.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
really, two
Everybody.
questions here.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there,
Yeah.
Gianna?
Yeah.
Martin? I lived there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know you're our guest, but how about you, Semaj?
Yeah, we've all been there, I think. Tormented by that Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, absolutely.
Poor
That's the
Pookie Bear.
truth. So my question is verse 20 a cop-out? It says, listen, if I do what I don't want to do, I am not really the one who is wrong. It is the sin living in me that does it. So is that a cop-out?
I don't think it is.
No, it's not a cop.
Because those who practice sin become a slave to sin. So we become enslaved to this. And in our hearts, I can't tell you how many times in my heart, and I'm crying out to the Lord, like, I don't want to do this. Like, in my heart, I wanted a different life. I literally remember being, like, driving to Camden in tears. Because I didn't want to be doing what I hate. And it was like, I was using and drinking against my own will. And
But that's not when you started.
no.
And you had
Yes.
to manage this thing. This was now
Right.
when it's managing you.
Yes, exactly.
I remember a doctor said to me, his daughter, who, thank God, is not addicted anymore. But he said to her, well, she really can't be blamed. She has no control over this. He said, it controls her. So would she really be responsible before God for her addiction? I remember,
That's a good question.
that's
Yeah.
verse 20.
Yeah.
It's no longer me that sins, it's the sin in me that does it. So he brought that up to me, and I thought, that's really a good question, because if it's the sin in us that's doing this, are we now responsible for it? But we could say the same thing about a guy that commits murder, has a gun, but he's drunk and he shoots somebody or hits somebody alongside the road. When do we take responsibility for this? And I said, Doc, all I can say to you, isn't this a choice that she's made?
In the beginning it is.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
But the last time I
Yeah.
saw him, he said, no, she had done it, broken it, and she was going into some sort of nursing or medical profession or whatever. But it's just a tough question.
Listen,
to
I
ask. What's our viewers
had
say?
a client who, husband and wife doctors, both of them. Their daughter had everything, sun, moon, and the stars. Somehow got on heroin, young. They spent countless amounts of money, sending her all over the country, and she wound up overdosing, and she left a letter in her bedroom, knowing that one day the time would come and that they'd find this letter. And the letter was all about her being a prisoner to this drug. She didn't want it.
Yeah.
She didn't want to live that way. But there's two parts to it. I mean, I never did heroin, but I know that people get sick if they don't do it once they're addicted. It's a physical withdrawal, right?
Yeah.
Puking, diarrhea, shakes, sweats. I mean, they'd rather be dead than be in withdrawal. Am I right?
Correct.
So this girl wrote this poor letter, and she didn't want it, and she just couldn't get free.
Well, people who live with deep depression do the same thing, and they take their lives. You know, and I can't tell you how many funerals I've officiated with drug addicts, overdose.
Right.
And I just say, listen, it's not how they died, it's who they knew when they died.
Sure, agreed.
So, you know, if they knew Jesus, there's not a sin in our lives that he doesn't cover. The bottom line is he forgives all sins, or he doesn't forgive any.
Right.
So if a person has a relationship with Jesus and they struggle with addiction or homosexuality or alcoholism or any other kind of addiction, if they know Jesus and they've trusted him, then he who knew no sin presents.
What about the
that
scriptures
person
that say
before
those
sin.
that do this and that
Yeah,
will not enter?
I just read it in 2 Timothy.
Right. So what about that?
Well, I think they make an excuse. I just have to put them in the category, Martin, that they are justifying their sin instead of admitting it's a sin.
Gotcha.
See, I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
If I'm struggling with addiction, I'm admitting that's a sin. That's why I'm going to celebrate recovery.
Right.
Right? If I'm struggling with homosexuality or whatever else, you know, and I'm just not attracted to a woman and I'm attracted to a man, but I know that sin, I'm fighting it. And I know that Jesus has forgiven me for it if I commit my life to him. But if I'm justifying it and saying, "Oh no, you know, God understands,"
What
I'm
about
fine,
the
I
one
can
about
live in it.
what about the one denouncing the Holy Spirit or things like that?
Well, that's just rejecting Christ,
Right.
Because the Holy Spirit so directs us to Christ. That's an unpardonable sin. We've talked about that. So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
When people struggle, listen, we all struggle. Maybe it's bitterness. Nobody sees that. You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's you cut somebody off. Nobody sees that.
Yeah.
That's a sin too.
Yeah, that's why I don't got a Jesus sticker on my car.
So let me ask this. If verse
I do not do that one.
So
I can't be trusted.
Do you have a Trump van sticker on your car? You're afraid somebody
I
will
don't.
smash your window in?
No.
Can we get a T-shirt that says "Pookie Bear Don't Care" something like that?
You know what? You don't have to forgive that.
Tell him. Tell him where that comes from.
Thank you.
All right.
So let me ask you this, BB. If verse 20 is true, is the addict then responsible for his or her sin, or are they exempt from condemnation?
They are if they've trusted Christ.
Right.
They're not if they haven't trusted Christ.
Okay.
So can I touch on something?
Because otherwise, why did he come? He paid the debt. He did not owe.
That's right.
We owe a debt we cannot pay. We cannot pay that debt. Fortunately, some of us conquer our addictions. Others don't. But it doesn't mean they haven't trusted in Christ. And his blood hasn't been applied to their sin for their forgiveness.
Right.
You know?
And a lot of people, too, you know, had trauma early on in their life, right? And that we always say, like, you know, that's not your fault, but my recovery is my responsibility.
That's a good way to put it.
And where it says it's the sin driving me, I won't go into it in depth, but Martin touched on this, and this is what it is. This disease is threefold.
The sin is threefold.
So there is the physical, right?
Yeah.
There is the mental.
Yeah.
And there's the spiritual. And the problem, right, is a spiritual malady. That's what it is. I have an emptiness. And that's why we need more and more. Because, you know, more this, more relationships. Because I'm trying to fill something that can only be filled by Christ.
Right. I remember watching Focus on the Family, and this woman was she was just loose. She was married. And her husband would say to her, "You mean to tell me I'm not enough?" And the counselor said to her husband, "It's not you.
Yep.
She could have 1,000 men on your doorstep, and one could be Jesus, and it wouldn't be enough."
Yeah.
In the sense that, you know, it was a hole that only God could fill.
Correct. So that is the core of the problem is the spiritual malady, right? And then we have the symptoms and the obsession. I want to touch one thing on the obsession though. What ends up happening when we become addicted, we all have neurons and receptors in our brain. At some point, no one knows when it crosses over. Our brains do not have the same reaction, where the normal reaction is the more I have, the less I want.
Yeah.
But because of this brain component, the more we have, the more we want.
Yeah.
So we have an obsession.
Oh, there's a lot of people. It's not drug addiction. It's owning a business. It's being on Facebook and Google and everything else. You think they're big enough? No, the telephone company. And
turn on the TV. People are addicted to eating toilet paper. And people are addicted to eat the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's finish the
Can I touch just one thing? Give me 1 second, because it's important. And it really... so this obsession, this mental obsession portion, I don't have control or a choice over when these neurons are sending signals to release the dopamine.
Yeah.
I can't control that.
Right.
So where it says it's the sin nature driving me, this is how I always explain it to people. If I am a vehicle, right, do I have a choice of where I'm going? Well, no, because there's a driver. So if the driver says we're going to the liquor store, I'm going to the liquor store. I don't have a choice, right? And so in that analogy, we are the vehicle. The mind says go, it says jump, and we say how high, even against our own will.
Isn't that what we just read?
That's why I said that.
Yeah,
it's the same driving me.
So take drugs and the alcohol out of it. Dopamine is a real thing. If you see a chow that's so beautiful and wins the whatever, your dopamine goes off the handle and you feel awesome. Yeah. Where all of us would be like, it's a dog.
Yeah. Right. Okay, listen, we got to wrap this up. Can you come back next week?
Let me check. I think so. I got to look at my schedule.
Okay. So we probably need to finish.
If not,
breaking news: the next presidential debate's coming up. Why we have to jump off?
Yeah. He thought we could do the short with us.
What?
Us four.
Making a joke. Where we going? There's no program after us going on. I'm just making a joke.
Well, because it's long and some people aren't going to watch for an hour. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes is the longest video I watch.
All right, so real fast.
Let's see. You got some
Julie Berg said, living through the 60s, so many of my friends never made it. I attended I attended too many funerals in my teens. I think that actually kept me from going down that road, which I do even when I graduated. I remember all the people from my class in high school that passed away from drugs and alcohol. I think it just is, in every generation, it just is actually...
We didn't have that in my generation.
Really?
No, we really didn't. I was really fortunate. Okay. You had some kids that would drink, but... You didn't do drugs. Worse. That was just something you didn't do at the time.
Was it your generation of Woodstock?
Yeah.
They didn't do drugs.
They didn't?
No, wait. No,
Woodstock?
No, I'm just saying
when I graduated
high school in the late 60s, it really wasn't something in our high school. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, all right.
Well, you went to township,
when I went to college, that may have changed.
Right.
But when I went to college, everybody was smoking pot. But when we were in high school, an addict was considered kind of a scum.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but you went to township though, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like in your case, PB, like in like a Philadelphia high school, they probably saw it in your era. That's what I'm saying. I would say it's a demographic plays a role in that too.
Like, could be right.
Maybe. Hey, listen, remember to share and like.
Does she have any other comments?
No, Angie says hey, and we have a bunch of people watching.
Oh, awesome.
So, like I started, remember to share, like, we're going to finish this topic next week. If you'd like a copy of today's transcript, you can either DM us or put in the comments, and PB will make sure he gets it to you. Speaking of PB, what is happening this week at the Gloucester County Community Church?
I have no idea.
Good. We have
no. I preach at 13.
We have Hijack Like Live t-shirts available. One of them says "Live for Jesus." And the back says, even a bad day will be a good day. One says, why are you telling me that? The back says, stop gossiping. And my all-time fave on the front says, make life count. And the back says, stop bitching, start blessing.
I love it. I wear that shirt all the time.
I am free next week.
You ready for the?
All right.
Let's give him a blessing. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Live for Jesus, and even a bad day will be a good day.
See you next week.
Love y'all.
Have a great day, guys.